The Indian peacock has a distinctive shimmer. It's almost kaleidoscopic. This is the result of a phenomenon known as iridescence, where the bird's feathers seem to come to life as light hits them. This sheen has woven its way into art across place and time. How various cultures have used this effect and the iconography of the peacock is a fascinating and evolving question. Today, we look at the portrayal of peacocks in artist James McNeill Whistler's Peacock Room at the National Museum of Asian Art, part of the Smithsonian Institution, and a Morakuti Pichwai from Maps collection. Join Diana and Kushi in conversation as they look into the symbolism of the peacock, exploring its connections to culture, conflict, love, and desire. Welcome back to another episode of Museums Without Borders.
We are standing here in the museum's most famous space and one of the most spectacular interiors on the National Mall, James McNeill Whistler's Peacock Room. Whistler was born in the United States, but spent his career in European art centers such as London and Paris, where he earned a deserved reputation as one of the era's most creative and irascible artists. The Peacock Room is Whistler's most complete and transforming artwork, an interior like none other that has survived from a townhouse in London, to a mansion in Detroit, to the Freer Gallery of Art. It has been an object of fascination for visitors from 1876 to today, when it continues to delight audiences with its repeating peacock motifs in stunning shades of gold, blue, and green.
Whistler's decoration for a Victorian dining room and a Rajasthani devotional wall hanging seem worlds apart, but they share a connecting thread: the peacock motif. The Pichwai captures a divine dance of love, reminiscent of Krishna's Ras Leela, while the motifs used in the Peacock Room offers a stark contrast, embodying a tale of conflict between artist and patron over the value of art and creativity.
For Victorian Britons, the peacock was a popular symbol that evoked seemingly exotic landscapes. During that time, European artists incorporated peacock feathers into clothing and domestic decoration. They borrowed these elements from textiles, ceramics, screens, and prints that were imported from India, Japan, the Middle East, and China. With its showy display and pugnacious personality, the bird took on particular connotations for James McNeill Whistler, the artist and designer of one of the era's best known and luxuriously decorated interiors, the Peacock Room. Whistler took over the design of his patron Frederick Leyland's dining room after the original decorator became ill. He borrowed liberally from both his and Leyland's Asian art collections in his conception for the space. Whistler's studio featured works from Japan that included resplendent peacocks, and both he and Leyland were well-known collectors of Kanchi-era Chinese porcelain, which often featured the birds. Though Whistler initially began his work on Leyland's dining room as a small-scale project, the artist's imagination soared and culminated in a floor-to-ceiling transformation. Whistler applied gilding, layers of gold, blue, and green paint, and transparent glazes to the room's walls, shelving, shutters, and even the ceiling. Various representations of the peacock came to fill the space, from shutters featuring a pair resting foul to overlapping semicircles suggesting the bird's breast and tail feathers across the lower portion of the walls and the ceiling. Whistler created an immersive work of art by transforming disparate Asian influences into an aesthetic whole that was uniquely his own.
On this side, we look at a Pichwai, which literally translates to that which hangs at the back. These are pictorial textiles found as wall coverings, ceiling canopies, and textiles for thrones, steps, stools, and other platforms for the shrines of Srinathji, the 7-year-old manifestation of Krishna. Srinathji is predominantly worshipped by the Vaishnava sect known as the Pushtimar Bhakts or the Vallabha Sampradaya, which was first established by Sri Vallabhacharya, a Hindu saint and philosopher. Their leading pilgrimage site is in Nathdwara, which literally translates to the gateway to the Lord. It is situated 48 kilometers to the northeast of Udaipur in Rajasthan. This Pichwai from Maps collection was made in the 19th century in Nathdwara by an unknown maker. On it, 30 birds consisting of peacocks and peahens are dancing, possibly mimicking the Ras Leela, where Krishna dances with Radha and the gopis of Braj. The Pichwai is typically displayed during Bagicha Ka Utsav, a monsoon festival where the entire Haveli in Nathdwara is decorated with hangings of fountains and banyan trees, recreating the scene of a garden. Amid monsoon festivals, the Pichwai transforms Nathdwara into a blooming paradise, where devotion and nature merge in a harmony of colors and emotions.
The Pichwai employs peacocks to celebrate the connections between the human and the divine, fostering unity among creatures within lush landscapes. The peacocks in Whistler's work came to represent quite the opposite. Whistler's complete aesthetic overhaul of his patron's dining room was utterly unexpected for Leyland, who quarreled with the artist over the extent of the transformation and the price Whistler demanded for the work. Leyland ultimately banished Whistler from his home, but not before the artist painted a final rendering of their dissolving relationship, the mural Art and Money, or The Story of the Room. In this painting, Whistler depicted one peacock advancing menacingly. That peacock's body is composed of gold and silver coins that seem to drip into piles at his feet. Frilly neck feathers reference Leyland's favorite type of shirt, and an imitation diamond shimmers in place of an eye. The retreating peacock on the left sports a silver head plume to suggest Whistler's famous shock of white hair. The message would have been clear, even if thinly veiled via the mural's avian theme. A patron's stinginess threatens the artist's capacity to create a space of encompassing beauty.
In contrast to the exotic perception of peacocks in the West, peacocks are indigenous to the subcontinent and deeply woven into many Indian legends. In one such tale from Braj, Krishna plays his flute so beautifully that the peacocks started dancing and offered their feathers, which Krishna promised to don forever. In Morakuti Pichwais, peacocks are typically seen preening before peahens, and their dance heralds the rain, coinciding with the mating season during the monsoons. The peacock also becomes a metaphor for the love, honor, and devotion shared between Radha, Krishna, and their devotees.
Pichwai peacocks and peahens peacefully cohabitate with one another in their garden setting, signifying the change of season and embodying the connection between Krishna and his devotees. The male birds in Whistler's depiction, by contrast, are preening dandies at war with one another. Though the room and the Pichwai are roughly contemporaneous, the peacock's unique attributes, his opulence, and the otherworldly shimmer come to represent love and devotion in one context and bitter conflict in another.
By pairing together Whistler's depiction of peacocks alongside the Pichwai, we uncover the many facets of human behavior, whether it be love, devotion, contempt, or dispute. This makes the extremes of human emotion apparent and makes us think about the various cultural contexts that shape them. Join us next time for another dialogue in a new episode of Museums Without Borders. Check out our channel for more such episodes, and don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.